center.
Hey guys, I'm here with my friends Bruce, the Moose, and Tiff, who helps us with the financial stuff on this. I don't know if you guys have subscribed to Tiff yet, by the way, but you should if you haven't. I pinned the link to her channel at the top of the live chat tonight. So just wanted to let everyone know that my mom had a bad dream about a huge frog head. And I asked her what the huge frog head was doing, and she said it was just a huge frog head. And I told her that I would let everyone know about that, and I know that she might be watching, so I wanted to let you all know. What did I miss? Omar says you missed the frog head.
Are we going to interpret
after she saw your hair?
Dude, probably. I was just telling Bruce and Tiff that my hair has an interesting relationship to my head at this point in my life. So, yeah.
Is there any dream interpretation we can do about this frog head?
Probably, but I don't think we should. I think that we should. Oh, hello, mother. Haha, it was awful.
Oh.
Can someone tell Lauren her hair is gay? It matches my tattoos.
Oh, boy.
All right. Anyways, we have lots of Laura Owens updates to go over tonight. I haven't really touched on this in a little bit, other than that brief summary of the injunction hearing from last week. So we'll start out with this. The Owens family is going to lose their house, apparently, and Tiffany's going to answer lots of questions for us about that. Tiff, tell us what happened there.
Okay. Sorry. I was distracted for a second. But
By my mom's dream? I know.
Well, that threw me off for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, their bankruptcy was dismissed. So they haven't paid them, to my knowledge, they haven't made a mortgage payment since December of 24. Okay. I mean, they made some payments, but they were rejected for NSF and stuff. So we know that from the history and the bankruptcy documents. So anyway, the bankruptcy, as we know, was dismissed for Ron and Jan, and mostly officially. There's like administrative stuff they still have to do, but mostly it's completed and dismissed. And what that does is so the bankruptcy filing stops all the collection activity on not just every, credit card account, but also like any collection activity on mortgages and everything. So when the bankruptcy was dismissed, that protection goes away and the lenders are free to collect in any way they are legally allowed to. So I think it's been about a month since the bankruptcy was dismissed. They go through their paces, their timelines they have to follow and whatnot. So what they have done now is they've filed a notice of sale. It's technically, I think, a notice of trustee sale. And every state's a little different. So in Arizona, they do a trustee sale. And the trustee is basically kind of like not the owner of the note, but they take care of it, all of it. And I'm sure smarter people have better words for it right now, but that's what I'm going to say.
I don't have any better words for that, so
it's fine.
I don't know what that means.
And there are timelines that have to be followed in this type of foreclosure. So what it's called the Reddit had a good breakdown of it. It's called a non-judicial foreclosure, meaning they don't go through a court action. They don't have to file a lawsuit. They just have to publicize it and notify the parties through the proper methods, right? So one of those methods is recording the document, the notice of sale, and that's how we found it. It was recorded, and it puts out a timeline. It's typically at least 90 days from the date of the notice, and that's the date that the sale will take place at the courthouse.
I think the date they chose is my sister's birthday, actually.
The date they chose is very, very close to a certain anniversary.
Is it? Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Ironic. I don't know. It's something. Yeah. But anyway, so there was one thing I said. I don't remember if I said it in a Reddit or I sound so old, in a Reddit.
In a Reddit.
I was doing the Reddit, and I don't know where I said it, but I said one thing wrong or incorrectly, I think. So the way the sale happens, the trustee sale happens, is it happens on the 26th, and they basically have like, I think 3 days to move out, or the person who purchased the property at sale can start eviction proceedings.
Mm-hmm.
And that would work just like any other kind of eviction. It would be just like if they were kicking out a renter, right?
Right.
So that timeline would follow, and they would have to move out within whatever period of time it takes.
Did you say 3 days or 30?
3 to file the action. Yeah.
Okay.
And then it takes time to actually get out.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
To go through the process.
Okay.
But
so
go ahead.
No, you first, because you know all the. Okay. So I know that like it's kind of I'm conflicted about this because it's satisfying that they're facing the consequences of their actions, but also it's like a sick old man is getting kicked out of his house, and I don't know that they have the capability to like really do what they need to do to keep up a decent lifestyle at this point, because they seem to have no like self-awareness in regards to what they're doing with their daughter. So I'm like, I feel bad for Ron being a sick old man being kicked out of his house. And I know I shouldn't feel that way, but I do. It's just a reflex, I think. But also at the same time, it's like, this is what needs to happen. This has to happen. Otherwise they'll never stop. So
it has to happen, I think, for their own financial health, really. Mm-hmm. Like, they cannot afford this house anymore. They have over mortgaged it and cannot afford it. So it really needs to happen. Anyway, the foreclosure sale, if it takes place, it takes place, and then the eviction process starts through what they call it, forcible detainer, which is really sounds scarier than it is. It's just an eviction. But they I could use MG Law's brain right now a little bit, because mine.
I was just asking if you wanted to, because I don't know.
A little bit.
Tiff, two questions. Number one, is there anything that they can do to delay or slow this process, or is it on a track that is unmovable?
They can delay it, right? There are things that they can do to delay it. It may not delay it for very long, but it can happen. One of those things is filing, like MG mentioned, they could file for bankruptcy again. They could open another bankruptcy case. Just because theirs was dismissed doesn't mean they're not able to file another one. You start playing around with that game too much, and eventually the court will say you got to wait a certain period of time before you can file again. But we're not there yet. So they could file and buy some time like that, right? They they could file for a loan modification. I think that would have happened already. It's not impossible that they could. I don't see how they're eligible, but it's possible. They could ask for a modification to say, hey, we've gotten so far behind, and we're really underwater, and we have all these reasons. Can you please help us? And
we're past that.
We see a lot of loan modifications in the foreclosure side. They fail frequently. I mean, it's just people who are in trouble end up in trouble multiple times.
Yeah.
Sometimes, not always. It happens. And then they can also, this is where I said I was wrong. I was reading some more documentation about Arizona yesterday, and I found out that they can also pay the entire delinquent balance. Like, if they can pay all of that and reinstate the mortgage, so to speak, that's another way that they could hold this off. Okay. That's literally putting probably every dime you have right back into a house that's still underwater in the end. But that is an option that they may also have too.
That's true.
Somebody asked about Sarah and Christian and the HELOC. First of all, Sarah and Christian, they signed all the mortgages. Sarah and Christian are on both mortgages.
Yeah, that was going to be my question too. Is like, so what about the sister and the husband who are apparently they're on the hook for this also? So what happens now? How does that work?
So I am not incredibly knowledgeable on it, but Arizona has this caveat where if the house is sold at a non-judicial sale, trustee sale, the mortgage that's foreclosed, the first mortgage that's foreclosed on, it's basically that loan will be settled, right? They can't come after you for the difference. There's some ways they still can, but in general, that's the rule. So, and they probably wouldn't anyway. You don't see a lot of lenders after they foreclose going after the borrower for the rest of the money. The HELOC could and still likely would try to get some of their money from Sarah and Christian at a minimum. I mean, they could get it from Ron and Jan too, because if they sue, they'll sue all 4 parties. All 4 parties are equally responsible for those loans.
Yikes. That's terrible.
Joint and several. Yep. Joint and several. So
agreeing to do that on Sarah's part was a terrible idea.
Yeah. It wasn't great. But in saying that, if this goes through, in my opinion, it kind of like jumpstarts their road to recovery credit-wise faster. Because let's say you redeem this loan, right? Like they pay back all that money that they owe for, what are we at, 15 months now, I think, that they owe. And they get the loan set right again, right? That loan is open. And all its history sits there open, right? And the further you get away from it, yes, it's fine. It gets better. But if that loan closes and goes away entirely after 7 years, however long it is, that falls off your credit, that's all the better, right? That's the time will help them recover from it. You can get an FHA mortgage after 3 years of having a foreclosure. You can be eligible for an FHA mortgage. And FHA mortgages typically have lower credit requirements score-wise. So you can recover from it. It's not devastating, but it's not a fun time. In the meantime, I'm going to try to change the color on this thing. I look like death. I mean, I know the color is weird anyway, but I'm not digging it right now.
At least you got purple like Omar. It's fun.
It's that olive skin, man. It's really not working.
If I put something different on my screen, it changes the color and it can do weird things. Like
okay.
A giant SpongeBob SquarePants or something.
That didn't help.
Bruce, did you have anything else you wanted to ask about the bankruptcy tonight?
I did.
Okay,
so let's say this or what do we call it? Foreclosure is successful and the house is sold, and let's say they find a condo or something. Like, knowing the rest of the state of their bankruptcy filing and how much debt they have, what is the next step for them? Let's say they just move into a condo and this house gets sold. Then what?
So the thing is, the type of income that they have is generally exempt. Not exempt, that's not the right word. Exempt? Why can't I think of the right word?
Excluded or...
MS is fun sometimes. I literally can't think of the word. But exempt is the best word right now, so we're going to use it. Yeah. From garnishment and stuff, right? Like it's unless it's a federal or state tax lien, something that's government initiated, it typically is exempt from creditors being able to collect against it. There are some caveats to that too. So like if you commingle, thank you, MG.
Yes,
I'm having a day, man. This whole conversation about extending my work just threw me off today. So anyway, if they commingled some money with I don't know, a 35-year-old daughter who might live in the casita, or 4 businesses that may or may not operate independently of them, it can be challenging for them to say our Social Security and our pension is exempt, because again, I'm not going to use my words properly, but if you mingle money, then creditors can argue that, hey, just like they are with Laura in her bankruptcy right now, you've got some stuff you're not telling us about, right? And some things are happening that you're trying to hide money or whatever you're doing. It's not on the up and up, and we think you have enough money to be able to pay us. So
there could be some liability if they're taking their pension money and dumping it into an LLC or giving it to their daughter. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It can be because it should just be staying in the account that it goes to and being used for their monthly expenses. So I took a long way of saying that it will their creditors come after them? Probably not all. A lot
Lauren
of
is
them.
sus. I agree. Lauren is sus.
She is.
Anyways,
she
go
is.
ahead.
I don't think a lot of them will come after them, but we saw some pretty high credit cards there. I mean, that Chase one was just the drop in the bucket. There were some higher ones. So, and so you get these debt companies that will buy that debt and then just go after people, right? They'll buy a bundle of debt for pennies on the dollar and start collecting after people. We see them a lot, like in court. People who watch court with me, we see a lot of the same companies going after people in court, collection agencies that sue people. So yeah. I don't think it's I just see them. I see them dragging it out and fighting it every step of the way. I don't know how successful it'll be, but they'll still be fine, right? If they buy a small condo or even in a what do you call it? Not retirement. Well, yeah, in a retirement community. You know, or somewhat semi-assisted community, right?
Yeah.
They'll still be fine. They can afford this, especially in Arizona, man. You know.
What about those gated communities where you have to be like, what is it, 55 and older or something?
Yeah.
Because then you can keep arbitrary 35-year-olds out, maybe. I don't know.
I've been trying to get into one of those forever. Let me tell you, it's a lot harder than getting into a bar underage. So
that's my jam. Nice, quiet community. Not the villages. Do you want an STD?
The villages.
Not today.
Oh man.
But yeah, they can do that. They can
The village is fucking party city, guys.
I think they can have a nice, decent rest of their lives if they let this house go. I think trying to keep this house is a very bad idea for them. They don't have enough money.
Fair enough.
And that's crazy that they don't have enough money for it, but they just don't.
Yeah. All right. Well, maybe slash loofah parties. Okay. All right. Well, let's move on to this plea offer, which was, we don't know the details of the plea offer, but was it Law and Crime did a video of the hearing today, so we'll take a look at that and talk about that for a second. We'll save the injunction for last because I feel like we have the most to talk about there. But give me 1 second to share this screen. That's not it. That's us. There we go. Okay. I'll move our heads over so people can see it. So it was not a very long hearing, but we'll watch it and we'll talk about it in a second afterwards.
All right. Good morning. It's the CR 2025-007905, State versus Laura Owens. Time set for a comprehensive pretrial conference and a complex case management conference. Can I get appearances, please?
Good morning, Your Honor. Greg DeZazaro appearing on behalf of Edward Leiter for the state.
Good morning, Your Honor. Jeffrey Swirsky appearing with Ms. Owens, who is present in the courtroom.
All right. And Ms. Owens, can I get your name and date of birth, please?
Laura Owens, 5/14/1990.
All right. Thank you. I did the case management report. Thank you for that. Mr. Swirsky, anything you wanted to add to that or any issues we need to discuss today?
No, Your Honor, we have been receiving discovery and everything. Mr. Leiter did extend an offer just this morning. So I believe that just setting another CCMC about 45 days out would be appropriate.
All right. Is there an expiration date on that plea offer that we need to worry about?
I don't believe there is.
There is, Your Honor. According to his notes, the plea expires on April 24th.
I want to pause there really quick because I've seen a lot of comments today about the public defender and just like him not knowing about that. And I'm thinking like public defenders, they're very overworked. And also he probably just got the details of this very recently, if not like today.
Well, he said that morning.
Right, that morning. So I don't think that it's really any sort of major judgment I want to make on the part of the defender. Like I don't have anything against Laura's attorneys in general, only the ones that blog at 3 a.m. and put me in their court documents, right? So like the public defender, I don't think that he did anything wrong. I think this was like he had limited time to catch up on this right before this hearing, and like the little mistake here where he didn't know that was pretty inconsequential in my opinion. It didn't really change anything. So,
and getting to consensus between the judge and both sides of the council, right, is the point of these conferences.
Yeah.
So they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're making sure they're all on the same page, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything really wrong with the public defender. I mean, maybe behind the scenes, maybe Laura thinks he's doing a terrible job or a great job. I don't know. But as far as what I can tell, he's just a regular public defender who's probably got a huge caseload, who's just doing his job. So, but I did see some comments about that, so I wanted to kind of point that out. But we'll keep going with this.
Okay.
All right. Would that be a good time then to set our next court appearance?
Yes.
Is that fine with the state?
That works for the state, Your Honor.
Okay. And Mr. Swirsky, I did get a state's motion for a protective order. Have you received that?
No, I have not.
All right. I think it was just filed. Well, shoot, it said it was filed February 6th. You want to take a look at it real quick? Of April? I am.
Oh, I'm muted. You say the judge looks like Jesse Palmer. They said the judge does kind of look like Jesse Palmer if you guys look closely, but like a much older Jesse Palmer, kind of.
As far as setting our next date, unfortunately, I'm going to be out the week of April 20th. Can we set it the week before?
When in that week? Because I actually have a surgery on the 13th.
Well, let me take a look.
Thursday of that week is the 6th.
So like sometimes when somebody doesn't have a history of medical fraud, a surgery is a good reason to postpone court hearings. I just wanted to mention that.
Well, I can do it the week before too. I just don't want to miss that date of the 24th. Can we do it the week of April 6th through the 9th? Are you available then, Mr. Swirsky?
Yes.
All right.
April 9th, 8:45.
Thursday, April 9th, good?
That should work, Your Honor.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, so Ms. Owens need to be back in my courtroom April 9th at 8:45 for a complex case management conference. Then you have a final trial management conference July 22nd at 8:45 in front of me. Trial assignments July 29th at 9 o'clock before the trial assignment judge. If you fail to appear, warrants can issue for arrest if you don't show up for trial. Could occur in your absence. Stay in touch with your lawyer. Mr. Swirsky, are you able to take a position on that right now, or do you want to chew on it a little bit?
I'll chew on it a little bit.
Okay. Okay, I will just, if you could get me a response if you're objecting to it soon, because it was filed on the 6th of February. All right, anything else we need to talk about?
The only thing I would ask, Your Honor, just for the record, I'd ask you to address the motion since the time is run on the filing. But I'll leave, if you're going to give Mr. Swirsky an opportunity to respond, I'd ask you only give him a week or so to get his response in.
All right, yeah, just so we have a deadline on it, I will give you until March 6th, so Friday of next week.
And was that in regard? You guys know? Was that in regards to a protective order on some of the evidence?
Yeah, that's correct. So if you follow the Reddit link for this video, there's comments that point to the post that have that filing.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
it's basically to say, we want to protect certain people's information
Right.
through discovery, but we don't want to,
Okay. Yeah.
So the way they want to do it is described in the motion. So we'll see if he objects to it or not with his response, which is due, I guess, by the end of next week.
Right. And I guess we'll talk about that when that happens.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you. I understand what the state's asking for, but our trial date's so far off, I don't think there's any huge prejudice giving Mr. Swirsky a little bit extra time.
That's fine, Your Honor.
to adjust it. So, all right. Thank you. We're in recess. Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. So the obvious thing I want to point out here is, again, lots of comments about this, and I had my own thoughts about this, to where like she looks terrible. She looks miserable. She looks, I mean, ungodly unhealthy at this point. It's like, this is bad. You can barely see her arms. And I'm not like a person to critique anyone's physical appearance. So it's not about how she looks in a form of like attractiveness. You know what I mean? But it's like she looks miserable and like she's on the brink of like some serious health issues because of how thin she is at this point. And it's kind of like, this is not good. And I know that there are different reasons why somebody might be doing that, but at this point it's like, I don't really care if she's doing this to make a case for herself as a victim or if she's doing this because she has a serious disorder. My concern is like, you look like you're going to have some serious problems that could lead to death. And I don't want to see that happen. So that's, something that I obviously noticed there.
Yeah. I mean, my fingers are crossed that someone, in her family or her attorney here, her public defender. I don't know how much he's talked to her or whatever, but will somebody assist her in getting, any help she might need or want?
And like her public defender, like I said earlier, like he's probably overworked and doing the best job he can. And like, they don't have a real personal relationship. She describes David as her rock. And David says he will always be Team Laura. And I'm like, what the fuck are you doing to where you're still publishing like her suicidal thoughts and like all these awful things on your blogs and tweets and shit like that? And to where you're not kind of like putting her in a position of, hey, I will continue to represent you for free as long as you go to an institution and get some fucking help for your problem because I'm worried about you. If that's somebody who really cared about Laura and not about his own infamy or whatever the fuck he plans to build his legacy on at this point, then he would be saying like, I will continue to defend you for free as long as I can, as long as you get help. There's an ultimatum he can give her there that she cannot refuse, and he's not doing it. Just saying. So
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
Yeah. But he's going to continue to kind of enable her and feed into her ideas about how everybody else is doing everything wrong and she's done nothing wrong, even though he refuses to acknowledge the facts of the cases that came before Clayton's, which is now going to work to her detriment because he doesn't even know much about Greg's, even though he attacked Greg's. He refuses to like acknowledge the things that happened and acknowledge that she may have done something wrong because that doesn't work in his favor. And as an attorney, he can't keep his license while acknowledging those things and saying the things that he's saying about Laura and saying, I don't know that she's lied about anything. You know what I mean? So like, it's just, I'm at a point where I'm like, I'm really pissed with him as much as I'm pissed with her. So
Yeah.
this is gross.
Honestly, and even I mean, I don't know how to word this, but I can see how her parents might not even realize it's happening in front of their face, right? Like, you know how you don't smell your own house if there's a stinky smell in it? Like, I can't, like something like that. Like, I said that way wrong. Like,
No, I know.
No, that's exactly
every day, right? It doesn't seem as extreme as in when we see it, and it's like, whoa.
Yeah, you become snowblind to it, or there's some term. My home inspector, when I bought this house, was he was saying a lot of times homeowners, they sell their house, but they don't realize the things that are going to show up on the home inspection report because they just don't even notice it day to day, right?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to spit out less gracefully.
Yeah. I mean, I think that, especially with Ron, who is dealing with his own apparently illnesses, and I don't know what she says, like, I don't know how true it is or not. I would say that because the Parkinson's thing has been going on for so long that other people in the community, at least in San Francisco and otherwise, have recognized it, that I err on the side of caution. And like, I believe that that's a real thing that he has. So I at least don't pass too much judgment on to Ron at this point in time, as far as like recognizing this kind of stuff. But with Jan, it's like Jan enables this shit to her core, helping Laura with an FBI report and shit like that. So it's like, you cannot deny that Jan is like blaming Diddy to the freaking investigators. Like, you cannot deny that Jan is enabling this bullshit.
Now she's an echo chamber. They just and it's
right.
riling themselves up all day, every day, I think.
Yeah, I mean, this all seems like a learned behavior, in my opinion. This pattern of behavior didn't come out of nowhere. It's a learned behavior, and I think that her mother taught her some of it. So
Can I say one thing? Because there's a little conversation happening in chat about if and when she's on probation.
Sure.
About no internet. And I want people to know that some people know that I'm in close proximity to Kendra Lakari from
I knew you
Unknown
were going to say Kendra Likari.
Kendra
go
was allowed, I mean, immediately, as soon as she got to prison, she was allowed to have a tablet with internet access, and
That's fucking
she was
nuts.
allowed to text her daughter
Yeah.
from
nuts.
prison. So I don't see that restriction happening for Laura if it didn't happen for Kendra. Now I'm using an extreme example, but seriously, I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
Should she have internet? No. Will she? Yeah.
Right. Do you know if Kendra's case, where was that?
Michigan.
Okay, I was gonna say because I forgot.
Yeah. Yeah, not Arizona. So it could be different, but
yeah, I mean there are different standards, different states. It's not a federal thing yet.
No.
So it definitely could be. And then MLS had speculated here her plea deal will not have no jail. That's my prediction. And well, I also hate that might happen. It is a possibility. And also, if they were to give her a plea deal that didn't offer jail time, I would think that would be contingent upon her finally admitting that she lied and she did something wrong. They wouldn't just give her a plea deal, I would think, with no jail time that didn't require her to admit guilt.
Yeah.
So that would be my thought on that. I feel like the only reason they would offer her no jail time, given the fact that they like added these charges for Gillespie on, would be that they expect her to not or to admit that she did not tell the truth, that she was lying in her cases, and that what she did was wrong. And I don't think she's going to do that. I think this is going to proceed to trial. I think that it shouldn't. I think that she absolutely should take the plea because that's the healthy and smart thing to do. And I feel like prison, as horrible it is for as horrible as it is for a lot of people, is the only place she's ever going to get structure and legitimate, honest feedback from people other than her mother and father and David. And I think it's the only place she's ever going to learn to function as an adult.
I think prison and post-release control. I think that's an excellent setup for her success going forward. She has to spend some time in prison to get the structure and the help she needs, right? And then post-release control has to happen because she's gonna need to know how to live in the world on her own, but with some oversight and guidance, right?
Yeah.
And I think that is going to be difficult for her.
Yeah.
But it has to happen.
I mean, it's probably going to. I don't think she's going to take the plea. I think that the best thing she could ever do for herself is to take the plea, whether there's jail time in it or not, but I don't think she's going to do that. It's going to be like it's going to be a forced growth moment. And I think that she's somebody who will never be like a perfectly healthy person capable of like normal relationships because of how she was brought up and how she continues to behave and how it's been enabled by the justice system and people like David. But like, I think that that's the only reason that's ever going to, or that's the only way that's ever going to work.
Let me ask you guys this. If there was a plea deal that did not come with jail, prison time, what would you want it to have? What are the conditions?
Admission of guilt and that's all I can really think
I say a long probation, a very long probation.
Well, yeah.
5 years at least. At least 5 years. 5 to 10.
Right.
I don't know if I don't know exactly what a plea deal can include, but I would like to see all of those things plus dismissal of these IAH, OOP, DVROs, and then also potentially being labeled as a vexatious litigant so that it's difficult for her to keep doing these.
I don't know the process for that, if that's a possibility as like a condition, you know what I mean? Like, is that a possibility is my question.
I'm just wishful thinking here.
Oh, no. Yeah, absolutely. Like that. Absolutely.
I don't think, I don't see that being part of the plea, but I mean, I could be. I don't watch a lot of Arizona court because it's not streamed a lot. So I don't get to see a lot of how things work there. If you ask me about Texas, I can give you some stuff, but I can give some insight, but, yeah, I don't see, because it's like different jurisdictional stuff as far as like criminal court versus civil court and all that stuff. So
yeah,
I just don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's limitations on what they can ask in a plea deal, but we'll see.
Yeah, because even if they do a plea deal, they'll still do that pre-sentence report, right? They'll still do that full, she'll have to sit down with a probation officer and answer a bunch of questions and do an assessment of everything, and that'll be pretty hefty, that
Mhm.
they will look at everything, and they'll write up this report and give it to the court, and the court will decide ultimately, regardless of what her plea is, the court will decide what she does sentence wise.
All right. So I'm going to move on now to the injunction. Hang on one sec.
I'm still
Okay.
here, but I'm
So I guess it was affirmed in like a one-page order, which there was some back and forth about whether or not that was like a permanent final judgment or if that was a like a temporary placeholder memorializing things. It seems that it is like an actual judgment. I think that is the actual order that it's being kept in place. However, it doesn't seem to have been modified at all in the ways that Laura was requesting. Laura and David did not want him to be able to go to the court and witness the hearings, among other things. It seems that she did not allow that kind of extension into those types of things. He cannot contact her, which he has never attempted to do. He cannot visit her residence or like place of work, but she doesn't have a job and he's never gone to her house. So it appears that she affirmed it, but the thing is, like, he just has this mark on his record now, basically calling him a harasser. However, the restrictions that this order actually places upon him are things that never occurred and were never actually a real threat to occur. Like, he never threatened to actually go to her house in a credible way. He never showed up anywhere that she was other than like a public horse show, which she did not even know, as she admitted on the stand, that he was there. So like, he didn't actually bother her in any way at all. Otherwise she would have been aware that he had attended. So I just feel like it's a little bit ridiculous that we can use our courts to punish people for basically speech, because the thing is, like, what's being affirmed is that he cannot do these things that he has never threatened, right? And it's a punishment that he's receiving because of things that he said. And I know that there are certain limitations to free speech, right? And the courts have to act upon like the law strictly. They can't really do too much a lot of the time about who seems to be the better person, you know what I mean? So it doesn't really mean that Laura's like in the right here necessarily from a personal standpoint. It's more so that the law allows her to retain an injunction like this based upon what was said, because there's a standard based upon like what a reasonable person might find to be harassing. And Laura is not a reasonable person, but if you don't know Rob, and you're taking this as a stranger's comments where you don't know the context and you don't know the intention, you don't understand that he's like being satirical or he's being ridiculous on purpose, you know, that kind of thing. He's not actually making threats. A reasonable person who saw those comments outside of that context without knowing him might feel like that was a threatening thing to say in some cases. And so that's why I feel like this went the way that it did. There were a couple of things that I felt concerned about. I did not want to make an announcement of that before this judgment came out. I was a little worried about the comments about contacting the horse show, etc. I feel like if he had taken the stand, maybe that's something he could have spoken to. But at the same time, it's hard to say, given the time that they had, if it's really a mistake, a huge mistake or not to have him testify. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know how much of an impact that really would have had. I feel like potentially the bitch slap comment was something that I was a little bit worried about, because again, I know Rob. I know his heart is in the right place. I know he's a good person who would never physically hurt anybody. But a reasonable person who's reading that comment from a person they don't know could potentially interpret that as harassing. And I feel like the judge has to take it that way. So that's what I was worried about. And I know that Laura, or I believe that Laura, is not feeling threatened by Rob at all. But I think that she saw an opportunity to add to her trophy collection of sorts of injunction orders against people as her kind of victim affirmation to herself. And I believe that she exploited the legal system again to do this. I don't think that she's actually afraid. I think that she knows that she didn't even know he was at her fucking horse show. You know what I mean? I believe that she knows that he's not actually going to do anything to hurt her, but she wanted a win. She wanted a win. She wanted something she could control and all of the chaos in her life right now. Which is, you know, a pretty consistent pattern for her. And so she did that. I believe that Rob now has a mark against him to where people who don't really know him will see that and think harasser And unfortunately, that will follow him for the rest of his life. And that's what she wanted. She wanted to punish him financially. She wanted to punish him emotionally for the things that he said about her, because that's what she does. That's how she controls her kind of victims per se. And Rob is not a victim in the sense that Clayton, Mike, or Greg was a victim, but like Rob is unfortunately a victim of sorts of abuse of the system.
Yeah.
Yeah. He said some things that were out of pocket, and I talked to him about that privately, because the same way that I wouldn't come out and try to help Laura make her case by saying, I'm a little worried about these things Rob said before the hearing, I also wouldn't, like come out and say that kind of stuff. So,
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah, and I personally, I think not taking the stand was a good idea.
Mhm.
I just do. I think it was nice and clean, and I don't know, unfortunately, having said what he said, I don't know that him taking the stand would have changed it. Like,
I don't think I also don't think that it would have. And I know some people have made that argument, or that kind of brought that up. And I thought myself, I was like, I don't think that would have changed anything at all based on legal standard. I really don't.
Yeah. I think given that we don't have like anything written by the commissioner, I should say, about why this happened, or any more details beyond this perfunctory form, it's hard to know, where did this turn sideways?
Yeah, because it's a really in my opinion, it's like a very bare bones injunction, right? Like, it's kind of lame, to be honest. That can't go to her house. He can't impersonate her or tell people.
Nobody wants to go to your fucking house. It smells like shit from what I can tell in the body cam footage. So, like, please stop suggesting that anyone wants to go to your house.
No. And so I don't know. I also wouldn't want to have one, right? But like, when I compared it against the one Clayton had against Laura, and that was real detailed. And it mentioned social media and everything, and this doesn't. So
yeah, I mean, there were things social media wise on from even Laura's against Clayton, whereas like she accused him of posting that meme with the ultrasound, and it was like clearly not Clayton if you know Reddit. But the Commissioner Duty, appropriately named, just took her word for it. And I was kind of wondering, I was like, well, some of the stuff online, are you just like taking her word for it? Because I haven't seen her like give any sort of actual evidence that he is the reason people called a horse venue, which, first of all, she couldn't name which horse venue called her and told her about that. Second, she couldn't name who she talked to, which if you wanted like something like this and you had such a traumatic experience, you would absolutely have that person sign like an affidavit or something, or at least be able to name them.
Well, and also somebody said, what did they do? Call up and say, hi, I'm Laura Owens. I want to know if I'm registered for this event. Like, you wouldn't do, like, that's not a call you would make. Somebody said that in a comment. I'm like, yeah, why would you do that? You would. And the information's available online, I'm pretty sure. So,
yeah, and that's something that I would say, like, I know this guy, and I know he didn't mean that when he said it, but he said it. And the thing is that the commissioner, the judge, whatever, is going to look at, did you say it, not did you mean it so much.
I do feel like from the notes I got, from whoever posted the notes about it, that I think that they're like, I think that I don't remember the commissioner's name, but I feel like there was consideration taken, like not just like Duty did.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. Somebody's going to get audio of it or something. And
it's really hard to know without a full finding of fact or something like that. What happened and what went into that decision. So I can only speculate. And my brain automatically goes to, well, how can I make sense of this in a way that's not the most dramatic thing possible? Or I'm like, well, everybody's just biased in favor of, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to be like, well, the judge is stupid. The commissioner is stupid. I don't want to say she's stupid. You know what I mean? Like, I want to say, like, there's got to be something there that can explain this decision. And, I would kind of also almost like, I don't want to say accept that because I think it's shitty that this turned out the way that it did, but I understand it to where like this is the law and the commissioner's job is to interpret and enforce the law and not necessarily to, take everything on an extreme individual basis. She has to, no matter how the feelings, fall about certain people, has to kind of follow the law. And so it's tricky because it's like you want them to do that because there's so many more people who do actually need these protections that you don't want to hurt by removing those protections. But these protections do benefit the rare case like Laura, who's doing what she's doing. So,
I don't know. So I had predicted that this wouldn't be remain in effect. I predicted it would be dismissed, and I was wrong.
Right.
So I would like to understand a reasoning, or at least some justification, and that would be nice.
And no, I
Better
think
understand.
from what I read from the actual statute that's quoted in there, it's super vague. I think that's part of the problem, right? It's super vague. Like a reasonable person. Well, okay,
Yeah.
strike one. A reasonable person would feel XYZ, right? Well, okay, strike again, right out the gate. We're not talking about a reasonable person.
Right.
But
Sure, but we're talking about the commissioner and the commissioner's decision. So, for example, when I was on a jury in Oregon, and the jury instructions about what we were to decide told us we need to decide if these things are true, and there were 4 things, and 3 of them were very perfunctory, like was the person there? Did it happen on this date? They were very easy, but the 4th one was, did this crime happen? And the way it was worded was, like you're saying, a little vague. And we actually sent a question to the judge and said, can you explain this more? And the judge basically said, you are the reasonable people and you're the jury, and you have to decide if this conduct is a crime or not, or if he's guilty of the crime.
Right.
And we just had to sit there in the jury room and deliberate. And that's apparently what this commissioner had to do in this case. We just don't get to know what they thought because we haven't seen that information yet.
If this kind of shit got put in front of a jury, this never would have come out the way that it did. I don't think.
Sure.
They would have had a lot more time to make certain arguments, like regarding Laura's history of trying to sue YouTubers and shit like that, and like her calls to law enforcement about YouTubers and commenters that are not reasonable and have landed her in like a hot water with the FBI calling a wellness check. Like there would have been, if this were a trial, this would have gone so much differently. But it was a hearing on an IAH, and that's how this kind of stuff goes, which I don't think it should be. I don't think it should be, because this is something that can ruin somebody's life for the rest of their life, an injunction against harassment. Not just, job-wise, but also socially. Is like somebody looks you up and you have an injunction against harassment. They're not going to get all those details if the judge doesn't even put out a finding of fact, which I think she should. All they see is this 1-page order affirming it. It's like that's a life ruiner right there. But if this was a trial, no, it would have gone a lot differently, I think.
you attach it to those blocks of text. That's the fortunate part, right?
What was it?
Like in the application, you see all the black, like the walls of text that Laura typed into it.
Yeah.
Like when you include all of that,
right?
It's really unfortunate.
Yeah.
Because it makes it look like it was granted based on all of that, right?
Exactly.
Not that's. I'm positive that's not.
I mean, there could have been one fucking comment that the judge was just like, I guess that could cross the line based on the legal definition of, whatever. But like, even if she thinks that Laura's unreasonable, it's like we're using the reasonable person standard, and this one comment crosses the line for a reasonable person standard, and so that could have been the reason. And so, like, if she doesn't put out like a finding of fact or something, more elaborate than this, that's a huge disservice, in my opinion. That's a huge disservice.
Yeah. Well, I believe in Arizona, it has to be 2. You have to have 2 things.
Okay.
Not just one.
Right.
So like,
there were 2 things that I was worried about. So I'll be honest, I'm kind of like,
I had downloaded the like information packet from Arizona. And it says, I'll just read it real quick here. Harassment is defined as either a series of acts over any period of time that is directed at a specific person.
Mhm.
And then I'm not going to read the other part because I just had a what's that called when you remember something that
Deja
happened?
vu.
Yes.
Yeah. I
Because
only know that because I was
remember,
just watching Lost. So
well, I started to read the second part and I stopped myself. And I think when you were reading this about Clayton's a while ago, like you said the same thing. I'm not even going to read that part because it doesn't apply and it's about violence. But it was like, anyway, yeah. So a series of acts over any period of time that is directed at a specific person. Super vague, right?
directed at is pretty specific, though. And
Yes.
yeah, they made it pretty clear the stuff wasn't directed at her, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
Acts. I'm getting stuck on acts.
Oh, really
Because-
quick, Michelle Fournier, thank you for becoming a new member, by the way. I'm sorry I missed that. Go ahead.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm getting hung up on the word acts, but it's fine. And now
Yeah.
it sounds weird that I say it 13 times. Acts.
Spoon. You know what I mean? No, it's like a.
I mean, if this is the final thing, I mean, it's very disappointing, and I'm also disappointed because we don't have any documentation about the motion to quash. We don't have any documentation about attorney's fees for either side. We just don't have any documentation as to why this might be the final item for the docket.
Right.
So that confuses me. I guess on the plus side, they did not add those extra restrictions that
That would have
Laura
been
was asking for.
that would
So,
have been insane, though, to
Yeah.
add those restrictions. Would have been absolutely insane, in my opinion. So I mean, I think if she would have added those restrictions, I would have questioned her ruling a lot more. I don't like the way that this ended up, but I try very hard to be objective in the sense that I don't ever want to call a judge or like anybody really biased or stupid or anything like that without looking at every potential avenue. So like if she had added those restrictions, I would have been like, you're absolutely fucking stupid. But I'm kind of like on the fence here, I guess, to where I'm like, I'm trying to see every avenue because I don't have her real decision. I have the outcome of her decision, but I don't have her decision-making process. So I can't
there's
really.
too much we don't know. We haven't seen audio or video from the hearing. We don't have anything else beyond this one form to create an opinion. When we watched the video of Judge Duty, we could see him not understand YouTube timestamps. We could see him not understand Clayton's argument. We could see him turn his head sideways and talk about, oh, when I talked to Laura, oops, I guess I wasn't supposed to say that. We could see those things.
What's the Reddit? What's the Reddit post? What's a meme?
Yeah. Whereas in this case, we just don't have the information we need.
So does that mean Hey Rob is not on YouTube anymore? No, he's on YouTube still, and he can, when he's ready and when he wants to, talk about the case. He can still talk about this stuff. He can't talk to her, which he has never done, and he can't go to her house, which he has never done or threatened to do, really. So it's like he's prevented from doing things that he never even remotely came close to doing in the first place. So I will say also, what's been really frustrating for me, I think, without sharing too much of Rob's like personal information, I think that when it comes to cases like this involving some very heavy and serious topics, like Laura has accused people of sexual abuse. She's accused them of a rape, of impregnating her when they clearly didn't. She's faked cancer. She's faked all kinds of things. And so like when people read and see all this stuff and they're taking all that in, and we all have a past, we all have our history. I believe everybody has some sort of trauma in this generation, so in my generation, but like sometimes this stuff is very triggering in a way that causes people to respond or give commentary that is very intense, and sometimes to some people will seem inappropriate. Like some of the language that I use, some people would think is inappropriate, right? But it's not harassment. And it's like, some of what Rob says, I believe, is more a product of the experiences that he's had in his life that was triggered by kind of reading these cases and some of this stuff, to where I feel like he got maybe a little bit careless in his language and taken away by emotion, as I have in the past, not in the same way, but in a different way, you know. My emotions got the better of me, so where I was like very angry a lot of the time when I was talking about this stuff, and just like feeling like I was kind of even kind of trapped in it when her attorney put pictures of me in his filings and accused me of crimes in like a case I had nothing to do with, right? So like there's a lot of ways that emotions can kind of grip you and take control in these situations, and where you start speaking in a way where you're not really thinking twice about it. You're like, this is how I feel and fuck it, and like, you know, fuck her. So, and you're not really thinking about it. You're not thinking people aren't going to understand that I'm joking. People aren't going to understand that this is satire. You're just trying to express yourself in a way that will come across differently if it's put in a petition on a page in front of a judge who doesn't know you, and a bunch of people who don't know you and have never met you or are judging you that way. I feel like if Laura were to file a petition against me, I feel like she could make it look pretty fucking bad, right? But I could tell you all day long why it's not to the level of harassment, but my emotions took over me sometimes. I got very angry, I got very upset, and I have called her some choice words that other people don't like. It doesn't mean that I'm a harasser. It just means that I let it get the better of me. And I think that Rob is kind of in the same boat, to where he's now trying to be more aware and more careful with his wording. He's been apologetic about the things that he said that frightened or startled or hurt other people, because he never meant to do that. He never meant to like upset anyone. He was just trying to express himself in the context of something that was very triggering to him, I feel. And I think that he is at heart a good person. And I understand that words, sometimes if you don't really know somebody, words can lead you to a different conclusion. But I feel like he really isn't the kind of person that he's portrayed to be on these pieces of paper that you guys are seeing right now. I believe that if you don't have it in your heart to like hurt somebody, if your intent isn't to hurt somebody, it's to express your hurt, or to talk about something that hurt you or hurt people that you care about or like, I believe that you deserve a chance to do better than that if it accidentally upsets other people. You know what I mean? So that's kind of where I'm at.
For
And
sure.
that was a long speech. Yeah. Sorry. So
No, I agree, Lauren. And, you know, my thing was, I never want to tell anyone what to do.
Right.
My point in analyzing this IAH was, I believe Rob is the kind of person, if he wants to do things differently or not, it's up to him, number one.
Yeah.
And if he does, I think he's the kind of person who can, which I think is a stark contrast from the unwavering, you know, dig your heels in attitude of Laura and her attorney, in terms of their, what we might call, you know, rude behavior on their part.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. This stuff just gets really heavy sometimes, you know?
It's very difficult. And I know a lot of people have strong opinions. You know, there are people who are very, very free speech oriented on one end, and there are people who are more sensitive about what's going on. And I can understand that everything's, you know, a lot of things are an S curve.
Yeah.
And there's going to be different ends of the spectrum or different opinions along that line.
Yeah.
And we just have to be cognizant that that's going to happen when we deal with more than one person at a time, right?
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you this much. I'm just reading through some of the comments here. If I thought Rob was a bad person and that he was actually like a rapey psycho, I would be like, fuck him. But I believe that free speech is important. I would tell you right up, and like I have with people in the past, I would be like, fuck that guy, he sucks. But at the same time, he's allowed to say that, and that's not what I'm saying, because that's not what I believe. And so I just, you know, as much as like other people might hate my saying that, because I know there are a lot of people out there who feel like he's like not a good person, and like they shouldn't follow him and people shouldn't defend him or whatever. I'm like, well, I'm not necessarily defending what he said. I'm defending who he is at his core, which is somebody who wants and has a desire to do better, and who is, you know, trying to do good. That's what I care about. So.
And I mean, it's a perfect right? And like I think you said it, Bruce said it like best. Like Rob can just show us that he's the kind of person that can
Right.
change some things, and not engage in that again. And that's the best way to win, right?
Mhm.
Just,
Right.
I don't know. If you can't win,
Yeah.
can't win. You got to win a different way. I don't know. So here we
Yeah.
go. It's not working tonight, but
Yeah. Somebody asked, do you know how Rob is doing? He's okay. I mean, he's got some stuff that he's going to have to work through. I think personally, just having gone through the stress, he's going to have to work through that. And it might be a little bit of time before you hear from him again. I don't know. Maybe he feels differently tomorrow and he decides to come back tomorrow. Or maybe it takes a week. Maybe it takes a month. I don't know. But like, I know that the guy doesn't need any more pressure right now. So I'm not badgering him and saying, hey, man, when are you going to go get these documents and straight? You know what I mean? So like, I'm just, because he usually sends me whatever documents he picks up from the courthouse and stuff, and I appreciate that. But I'm not thinking about him right now as like, I need you to do this. I need you to do that. I'm just kind of like, all right, man, you take your time. I know you're doing fine. I know people are going to worry about him, but I'm like, at the same time, I try to let people know, like, I've talked to the guy. He's okay. And I'm trying not to give too much personal detail or anything away from what he's going through, but at the same time trying to reassure people that like it's okay, it'll just take some time. I think that he's going to be all right. I mean, Laura, as the subreddit put it, Laura has gotten injunctions against people who did nothing to her whatsoever. So I think that it'll just take some time for him to kind of come to that and to kind of
Yeah.
get
I mean, the Clayton one was entirely based on this Halloween costume meme that Clayton did not make, that had an ultrasound in it that was not Laura's ultrasound. That's absurd.
Mm-hmm. And because he's gonna
we
have
are
to face
again.
it, she's pregnant.
Here we are. Yeah.
Omar said, "What did I miss?" So we're just going to start over, guys.
So Lauren's given this really sincere, honest speech, and Bruce types everything, something like that, as a response to Omar, and I'm cracking up in the background, but not at what Lauren's saying. That's very serious. So I'm sorry.
No, it's my fault. You can blame me. Yeah.
Oh man,
Bruce keeps it level. Like, how did?
Well, I think Omar missed the part about my mom's dream, so we should probably start from there.
Frog head.
Oh man,
the tilted turtle.
Omar and I, in an hour and 45 minutes, are doing a stream about Don Lemon because Don Lemon is now being sued for emotional distress. So we're going to be doing that.
By who?
By one of the churchgoers from the protest in Minnesota.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Right. So we're going to look over that and talk about that at midnight, my time, 9 p.m. on the West Coast. But yeah, that'll be what I'm doing next. I got to look up that lawsuit and find the actual document when we finish up here. But yeah.
I can't wait till I'm done working. I can stay up with you guys.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Because ain't no way right now, but
yeah.
See me in a week.
Omar says some snowflake. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about it yet because I haven't read the actual document. I've read the social media recaps, the TMZ recap, but I need to see this actual document. We'll go over that. So, but that's all I had to say tonight. I don't know if you guys had anything else you wanted to bring up before we take off.
If I did, I forgot it.
That's all right.
My brain is not. I sent you that. Just so if you want to look at it later, I sent you that Arizona thing that I found. It was kind of interesting.
Arizona
like
thing.
The definition of the IAH and the differences between that and the OOPs.
Oh, cool.
That kind of stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I just got that. I think she will. I think she will put out something explaining her decision when she has, the time to do that. And so that I'll probably look at that and go over that then. But
yeah, I don't know how it works. Like, I assume she has to say something about the motion. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. I don't get I don't get it.
Yeah.
It's my official big tip.
That's my official look on a lot of things.
Analysis. So. I don't get it.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's it. That's it for me tonight. Unless Bruce has anything else he wants to say, I think we're set. So.
Well, is there any other news in the whole ecosystem of this case? I think tomorrow the big podcast series starts, right?
Oh, that's right. That should come out at midnight, right? I don't know, actually. Is it at midnight?
I think so. I
I
mean,
don't know.
Eastern time.
But at least by tomorrow, you should be able to
Listen
go
to
check
the,
it out.
Yeah. So I'm in that. The podcast chick, who I've formerly only called podcast chick, but I think her name is Stephanie, so I can say that now. Is really great. So it'll be a good podcast. I don't know when I'm going to be in that. She did interview me for it. I don't remember what we talked about because it's been months and I have the ADD real bad. So like my brain doesn't allow me to retain all information. I remember we were in Omar's hotel room. We borrowed Omar's hotel room in San Francisco, and she interviewed me there. And I'm just like, for the life of me, I cannot remember what we talked about. So, well, it'll be a surprise for me as it is for everyone else whenever that comes out. I'm sure I'm not going to be in like most of it, but like I'll be in a little bit of it. So, yeah, we'll see how that goes. 9 p.m. for the Westerners. Okay, so whenever Omar and I are sitting there talking about Don Lemon, just know the other podcast is coming out. But yeah, so it'll be good. I'm pretty sure Stephanie's excited about it, I think. I know that Megan is interviewing Stephanie, who did the podcast, on her show, and then I'm going to do it as well. It won't be a live stream. So Megan's, I think, is coming out on Saturday. I'll probably put mine out on Sunday. So you'll get to hear from Stephanie plenty if you want to. If you don't want to, then assholes. So, you know.
Becca
Yeah.
was asking, is it only on iHeart? I found it on a couple different platforms. I don't think it's
Spotify is there, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's wherever you listen to podcasts.
Right. I'm a little afraid to listen to it. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like the way I don't like to listen back to my own YouTube videos. Like editing my own videos is painful for me, which is why I do so many live streams, or did so many live streams. Not this month, but it's just like it's so much easier. I don't have to listen to myself talk. So I'm just kind of like, do I want to listen to this podcast? I'm like going to cringe at my own commentary. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't think I would be able to. I don't like watching my videos.
maybe you guys will have to tell me if it's safe. Be like, Lauren, you weren't in this episode. You can listen to it.
I'm gonna say you sound like an idiot.
You need someone to recap it for you before you listen.
I think that's about where we're at. Yeah.
I'm sure you're fine.
Yeah.
And you need a retired moose to edit your videos for you. That's what you need.
Yeah.
As long as it's not about a frog head.
Right.
Whatever it is.
So we said Reality Steve is having Clayton and them on, isn't he, tomorrow? Oh, I don't know.
Yes, there's going to be interviews with
Okay,
the
cool.
podcast
Yeah.
folks on Reality Steve, Dave Neal. Keep your eyes peeled.
Yeah, I knew about Megan's. I didn't know about Steve's. Steve has been talking a lot about Love is Blind, and I didn't want spoilers, so I haven't been paying attention to Steve on purpose. It's like, Steve, don't. I usually go to Steve for spoilers, but this time I was like, Steve, no. So I will not listen to you. So I didn't know about it.
And the name of the podcast is Love Trapped.
Yeah.
Love
Yep.
Trapped.
I still
All right,
want
guys.
to see 11 days.
Look out for that at midnight or later. I don't know. I get the kids and wife to bed, and Lauren and says, "Fuck off." Sorry, I'm so sorry. I wanted you to join us, but unfortunately, yeah, I do have to take off.
Yep.
If you want to talk about Don Lemon, MG Law, I will be back at midnight. So
Yep.
just let me know.
No worries, MG. I misinformed everybody, so we're all good.
Oh, hot. Okay. All right, guys, that's it for me for now. If you want to, I'll see you at midnight. When I end this stream, it's going to redirect you to the link for the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to Tiff. I have pinned a link to her channel at the top of the live chat here.
Yes.
And I will see you guys next time. Goodbye.